Astrology, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, fruition, babies being born, fertilization, philosophy. And this planetary body, made up of gas in its entirety, is going retrograde on the 9th of October. It's stationing retrograde in the sign of Gemini, where it's been since May of this year, which is all about expanding new ways of communication, expanding new arenas of communication, and new ways of communicating what we desire to communicate out into the world. When this planet goes retrograde, we're going to be going through a big reevaluation of how we learn, how we think, how we communicate. That's just one fractal of what's going on October 8th and 9th. There's other astrology that I'm going to be talking about going on this particular day. I'm going to be talking about the astrology of each day, and I pulled cards from the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell that I'm going to be showing you. This deck is a beautiful deck. If I do have to say so myself, the artwork is gorgeous, it's stunning, it is really vibrant, and the messages are very feminine and soft and encouraging. It's definitely a very spiritual deck, if I do have to say so myself. So I'm looking forward to reveal to you what cards that I pulled for these couple of days. But let's start in on October 8th. So I'm going to be talking about the astrology of this particular day. We have Venus forming a trine with Mars. So Venus is in Scorpio, Mars is in Cancer. And both of these two signs are not very comfortable in the sign that they're currently in right now. Venus would rather be in Cancer, Mars would rather be in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio is intense, it's deep, it's dark. It's not the harmonious, lighter side of Venus, which it represents. And Mars in Cancer can get too caught up in the feelings of things and not taking action, and it can result in passive aggression at the low level. But these two planets are harmonizing together, mitigating their energies. So this increases your desire and appetite for social contact and engagement. This is about relationships heating up. You want to relate, you want to connect with others, you want to reach across the table and connect with others in meaningful ways. You want to form relationships, you want to interact. This is this type of energy. It's a very outgoing, very extroverted type of energy. We can look at the softer, loving side of us balanced out with the raw sexual desire, and you can sort of figure out the two coordinates of the, Venus and Mars in that regard. So these two things are in balance at this time, which is a positive omen. Companionship is also increased, so increasing our companionship, increasing our desire to connect with people in our lives. This is what this is about. It is about the willingness to want to connect, the willingness to want to relate. That's what this is about. And so there is also increased personal beauty and charisma. You're feeling more beautiful. You want to be more beautiful. You want to be more charismatic, hence the Mars energy, which talks about showing and giving up energy, being a stirring, motivating, striking force for people to sort of go upon you in meaningful ways. It's a kind of energy where we have a dilemma between, are we going to be beautiful or are we going to be fierce? But we can actually blend these two things together, blend assertion with beauty in positive, uplifting ways. So this is a time to engage in your relationship, um, to actively engage in that relationship and to talk about any issues that need discussing in whatever relationship that you're in, at the current time. It may be about a business and how that's going. It may be about a home and family matter. Um, it may be about wanting to go back to higher education at the age of 50. Whatever issue needs talking about and hashing out, and dealing with, this is the space where we can really open up and talk about any important matter that has to be addressed in your relationships. This is also good for starting creative projects that you want to start whenever in the creative arena as it is, and doing what you're passionate about, going after your passions. Um, and so you're feeling more driven to put the work into going after your passions at this time. And so any creative project that revolves around actions, that requires an action, painting, sculpting, karate, what involves you taking action in an art form, this is wonderful to blend the energies of Mars and Venus together. Blend the beautiful energy with Venus with the physical energy of Mars, and this is what you get. There is beauty in the physical at this time. So you may find that you have more energy to focus on the area of life that revolves around your finances. This can become a big area of life that gets lit up at this time. You may be more in touch with your creative side as well. This is good for sending a creative message to others that represents diplomacy. And whatever creative message that you can sort of send, where you're being peacemaking, where you're being diplomatic, where you're choosing to negotiate, where you're suiting to create harmony, this is a time where sending that message to a friend or a family member can be a positive thing at this time. And so passionate relationships become more passionate, more driven, more fiery, more stir-up, more sort of stewed in the making of what relationships should be. The sun will also come to sextile the moon on this particular day. So when the sun is in sextile with the moon, this brings about positivity. This is what this is. Our attitude becomes more can-do, more outgoing, more extroverted. We can have harmonious relationships with not only our family, but our friends also. So this is a time also to create more harmony in relationships. If there is any lack of harmony or disharmony, it's time to smooth over the edges and smooth over problems and create more harmony in whatever ways that you can think to do so. This is a time where you may feel genuinely good about kicking back and relaxing and being your true self without pressure, without guilt, without inhibitions. You're feeling good about just being who you are, being your individual self. Um, and so you may feel more empathetic and caring, yet optimistic at the same time. So this can be a positive thing with this. So, um, you're feeling more wanting to connect in a loving state of mind, in a loving state of being, in a compassionate state of being. And yet you have a masculinity to you. Yet you have an attitude that things will get accomplished, will get achieved, and that things are going to work out for the best at this time in general. So you may have a very nurturing and upbeat attitude about life, those two things coming into focus at this time. And if you're planning on entertaining others in your home, it should be pretty successful. I'll have to say it should work out really, really well. So the next aspect that I'm going to be discussing is we have Mercury and Libra coming into a trine with Jupiter at this time. So when Mercury is trying to Jupiter, this brings, so we have the little mind, the small mind, which is Mercury, and the bigger, more expansive, um, more broad mind coming into a beautiful trine aspect. So this generally creates good news that can come about at this time. This is good for researching, studying, and socializing. So if you're doing any of these three things, then those can work out well. You have good instincts. Your instincts are very, very strong, and your mindset is a positive mindset. That you're thinking things positively and you're viewing them in a positive way, and that's something to this as well. So this is good for cleaning up and organizing your life. Um, However, you can do that. You can declutter some stuff that you don't need. You can rearrange your life. You can create the things that are taking up space so that you can allow for new energy and space to come in. That's a gift of giving up possessions and things like that. This is the time to look to philosophy. Be very philosophical at this time. This is the time to look to the positives in your life. Seeing the positives, choosing to see what is good in your own individual experience of your life, not focusing on the negatives, not getting caught into um, what is humdrum, low down, all those kind of things, but looking at what's beautiful, noticing the good things around you, and just speaking to the things and the aspects of those things that are good. Getting bedridden for 5 years may be something that can be initiated at this time in the sense that you'll have an optimistic attitude even if you have to go into being bedridden. This presents positivity in that regard. This is good for holding out charities or human rights associations. Helping these things out, supporting these avenues of life. And so these two avenues of life can be very successful for you at this time. So you're feeling in a more giving, more generous kind of energy. Making friends comes as an easy thing to do at this particular point in time. Being friendly, reaching out, connecting with other people. And so this is time to expand your horizons and learn more about the world around you, learn about your community, read the books on your shelf, all those kind of things like that. Your mind may be also sharp at this point in time. And so this is where you might set goals that require a tremendous effort to achieve, but you can achieve it. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And so when we're setting goals that we have to put in a lot of effort to achieve, we can strategize how we're going to go after these goals, how we're going to accomplish the goals step by step, checking things off our list, that kind of thing. And so if there's goals that require a huge amount of effort to achieve, this is the time to go into that. This is good for going into reflection as well. This is about integrating your information that you learn in a way that serves your soul, in a way that helps your soul, in a way that makes sense for your soul. So this can be a positive endeavor. Reflecting on how your goals serve the creative is a really, really important thing to serve the collective good, to serve humanity in general. So we can really look at this and evaluate this at high levels. That's what this is about. Is how are our goals? How are the things that we want to get to? How are the things that we want to attain going to serve the collective, going to serve the all, going to serve the masses of people? That's something to meditate on. We may become overly optimistic about what we can achieve, feeling like we can achieve more than we possibly can. And it's good to not overpromise, be overzealous at this particular time. Don't fall into hubris or excessive pride. And so we need to evaluate setting goals that we can achieve, not goals that we can't necessarily reach. And we need to make our goals manageable and realistic. It's important to prioritize self-love, to care for yourself, to love yourself if you feel overwhelmed with a certain scenario in your life in general, to the point of being what it is in its entirety, it is the point of being positive. Now we're talking about it's important to have active listening and open communications. Actively listening. When was the last time that you actively listened to the people in your life and to the things that you're watching? Engaging with that information. This is what this is about. And open communications, communicating openly to people. This is about forging deeper connections with other people. And so it's important to reflect on how your goals impact those around you. How do your goals serve the collective, as I was talking about before? The moon is going to also sextile Mercury. So your ideas are more emotionally based at this particular arena. And so you can find that um, you're more emotional with your ideas. Your ideas are more subjective. This is good for writing that is based on emotional experience. Writing based on your emotions, writing your feelings out, expressing what you want to express through the act of writing. You may have predicted dreams at this time also. This is good for verbalizing your feelings, letting your feelings out, communicating your feelings in very strong, powerful, and assertive ways. This is all about you being free to communicate whatever it is that you desire and want to communicate unapologetically with no inhibitions, no limitations. You're verbalizing your feelings in general. You're letting it out, basically. And so whatever way feels good to you to express your feelings, now's the time to go in that direction. And so authenticity in your interactions, are you interacting with other people in authentic ways or in superficial, fake, and untrue ways to who you are? So are you being true to yourself, true with others in your interactions? And so it's important to also evaluate what habits serve you and which habits don't. What patterns do you need to get rid of? That becomes super important at this time to consider. That becomes something that can be something very enlightening for you to consider now. And so, are your conversations more reflective of your authentic self, or are they not? What are they reflective of? And what stories do you need to let go of? What narratives need moving away from at this time? What stories are you continuing to tell yourself, continuing to beat on, dead on, in particular ways, which now require you to um, just move away from, just release. So what stories about yourself do you need to release? In my case, it's when I was younger, I made the foolish and impulsive mistakes of deleting valuable videos that was out of impulse. And that's something that's really, really weighing on me. And, why did I do that? Why on earth did I do that? And really, in a way, it really feels like I messed up in ways. I messed my life up in certain ways. And so getting perspective and seeing it from a higher place is really, really challenging. Um, and so that's one narrative. It's also not necessarily embodying the advice on oracle cards, another thing. So there's all these little fractals of um, narratives that I really, really need to let go of. And you're probably thinking, you have it so good. You're sitting here, you're making this video, but I really do have a lot of baggage that I'm holding on to. And you may not hear it in my voice, but there's some insecurities that I'm holding on to. There's guilt that I'm holding on to. So, I'm really holding on to a lot of stuff, a lot of burdens that need releasing and will forever not be released in accordance to what's going on right now. So it's a matter of dealing with those kind of things in the best way possible. The moon will also oppose Jupiter. So when the moon is opposite Jupiter, we need to take care that we're not being overly generous and we're not getting taken advantage of. That's super important. That we're not letting ourselves getting taken advantage of, that we're not crossing our own boundaries. But in general, this is about feeling more positive and raised up at this time, feeling more upbooted at this time. So this is also good for opening up yourself on an emotional level, being open to express yourself, your words, your feelings, your thoughts, especially if you are a more shyer person, you may feel more outgoing and more willing to put yourself out there at this time. So I say, do that. Take that risk. Take that opportunity. Take that chance. And so you may have unwanted attention for the more open individuals. That may be part of this is unwanted attention, unnecessary attention. Um, and so you may also subconsciously be falling into harmful habits and behaviors. So it's mindful not to go into those arenas of life and workshop in a way of doing things in life. So what can we do with this nebulous sort of arena of the individual kinds of things like that? So we may be feeling more positive and raised up at this time. This is good for opening up if you're a more shy person. Um, and so what habits and behaviors do you need to release? Are you feeling emotionally upset? And you may be led to question your beliefs. That may be something to this as well. Questioning your beliefs of, what's real, what's not real, all those kind of things like that. Um, question what you truly believe, and are your beliefs serving you for your highest good or are they not? And so you may be called to act more impulsively than usual. That may be part of this. You may need to think about your actions before you take them. So I did pull an oracle card for this particular day, and the card that I pulled was Pillar of Light, as you can see, Pillar of Light. And I'm just going to show you this um, a little bit more closely so that you can see it here. I hope you can see the card right here. So this is what the card is. It's called Pillar of Light. And the key words on this card are your vibration is rising. You are the oracle, as you can see here. So what this is all about is this is about shining and not being afraid to be seen, putting yourself out there, not being afraid to be noticed, acknowledged, loved for your talents, appreciated for your talents. This is all about being uninhibitably true to your true self. And so you can light up the skies with your energy. You have such boisterous energy. You have such enthusiasm for life. It's time to shine that energy out into the world and be your true, authentic self in that regard. This is about raising your vibration, doing whatever you can to raise your vibration. Is it singing? Is it dancing? Is it drama? Is it getting outside in nature? Is it taking a walk in nature? Is it interacting with animals? Whatever you can do to raise your vibration, now's the time to do it. Know that heaven and earth is made inside of you. And so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to read a section of this card from the book. I just have to find it because this book is sort of organized in a funky way because the cards are not organized by pages, they're organized into suits. I have to find it here. So let's see here. Pillar of Light. Um, let's see, that would be page 102. I find it here. So this is what it says. Imagine yourself as a pillar of light connecting the light of the heavens above with the earth. As the light shines through each of your chakras, you activate the rainbow bridge that many ancient scriptures speak about, raising your vibration and the vibration of the planet. Linking the higher realms of the cosmos, guides, angels, and spirit with the ancient wisdom keepers and beings of planet Earth. They dance together through you, they sing together through you, without your body, voice, and creations, neither can be expressed. For too long, we've been taught that God is outside of us, giving away our power to angels and spirit guides. But without you, they do not have a voice. So this is about dancing beings inside you. This is time that heaven and earth are made up inside you. Now is the time to meditate. And so without your body and voice, none of the angels and guides will be expressed. You are a steward of the divine. You are a part of the divine. You are a conduit of the divine. And so these beings, which have such spiritual energies, are getting expressed through you, in your body, through your voice, through your words, through your actions. That they are working with you as you go through your life. And they are also giving you guidance as well. Are you open to the guidance? Are you available for the guidance? Um, and so knowing that you're a conduit of spirit and the divine, you are the oracle. You hold all the answers on the inside of you. If you have any question, your spirit knows the answer, your heart knows the answer. So it's time to listen to your intuition and listen to your heart. And tuning into the wisdom within. This is what this is about. Either through breath work, doing anything that calms you, doing anything that centers you to listen to your heart. Now is the time to pursue those areas of life. Knowing that without you, the angels and guides have no way of communicating. That is definitely true. Moving on to the astrology of October 9th. The very, very first thing going on is that Jupiter goes retrograde in Gemini. So optimism and responsibility, these two things come into focus, especially is because Jupiter is square Saturn in Pisces. And that makes for this conflict between your optimism and your enthusiasm and your upjoltment of life, your upfinement of life, versus your sense of discipline, your sense of your work ethic, your obligations, your to-do tasks, and your duties as a human being living, a soul living a human experience. And so we may have hesitation when it comes to asserting our wisdom and authority. We may hesitate when it comes to these kinds of things. So it's important to discern what pieces of information are true and what pieces of information are not true. What information are we going to act upon and what are we going to skip and pass along the roadside with? What are we going to, really take action upon, and what are we going to let us pass us by? And so this is about finding and searching for knowledge and wisdom, because Jupiter is all about knowledge and wisdom. It's all about the expansion of the mind, the learning of new things, the discovering of new information. You may question situations and partnerships at this time. That may be another part of this. Our intuition may lead us astray at this time. But it's best if you have a consultation with your mind before making really, really big and important decisions. It's good to balance out your intuition with your logical mind and consult both, before you make decisions. So blending your mind and your heart and your soul and your intuition together and, doing these kinds of very ritualistic things. And so our intuition is not the most reliable at this time. We may also question societal roles, questioning societal rules at this time. And so Jupiter retrogrades can bring about changes that will help our future in general. In order to have a balloon that can successfully fly up in the sky, we have to fill it up with air and fuel and all the things that we need to get into the balloon. So it's important to make the preparations, do the things that you can do before pursuing your goals. Preparation, planning out, the strategizing, all those kind of things like that are super important. This is about having faith in yourself and doing the right thing. We're exploring and we're having inner expansion and inner voyage, inner travel, inner explorations that we're looking at because Jupiter is retrograde and it's turning within. And so pursuing new ideas, this is Jupiter in Gemini. So it's time to reflect and reevaluate our sense of expansion. This is what this Jupiter retrograde is asking us for, and really any Jupiter retrograde is asking us to do this, no matter what sign it's in. This is about slowing down and reviewing the lessons that we have learned throughout since May that Jupiter was in Gemini, or whenever it entered its pre-retrograde shadow time. So this is about tuning into our thoughts and emotions inwardly, tuning into our inner thoughts and emotions. And we can go into ourselves and go into introspection and reflection. We can have a lot of personal growth when it comes to this. This is about tuning to the answers within via inner wisdom. The moon will also square Neptune. So when the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, at the end of Sagittarius, squaring Neptune at the very, very end of Pisces, this brings about confusion and emotional insecurity. We can feel these two things at this time. You're not seeing people or situations clearly for what they are. You're seeing them how you fantasize them to be, how you want them to be. Events may lead you to question reality, question your beliefs, question why am I really here? What is the reality that I'm living in? What is the nature of my reality? And so you may also be extremely and incredibly emotionally sensitive and tender at this time. And so being taken advantage of becomes more possible at this arena of life. And so we need to be mindful that we're drawing healthy boundaries, that we're not getting taken advantage of. And so our tolerance for drugs and alcohol may be lower than usual. That's another aspect of this. We may be seeing the truth of matters. We may need to see the truth of things, getting to the bottom of things. And this is not a good time to assume things about others that aren't true. This is very, very important for us to consider. That we're not assuming and we're not going on the word of that. We're seeing people for who they really are. We're finding out who the people really are. So this is also about being present for reality, being in the here and now, being grounded as much as you can in reality. So I pulled another card for this particular for October 9th, and the card that I got was Anna, grandmother of Jesus. Hopefully you can see it holistically here. And so the keywords on this card are seeding the light, laying foundations, and divine plan, as you can see. So I'm going to read just a section of this card from the book so you can get an understanding as to who Anna of grandmother of Jesus is. Because you're probably wondering, who is Anna, grandmother of Jesus, if you do not subscribe to the Christian religion. Let's find out who this is so that we can get a better understanding as to the guidance of this particular card. It is on page 88. So this is what it says. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world and to be well knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the threads that is woven through all of life. This is the time to give back to the collective, to be giving, to be open, to be, giving the things that we don't need, to give off energy, wisdom, and states of being that are very positive for us. What do we have to give back? Really, really looking at this. Know that you are a powerful and sovereign being also, and be powerful and sovereign in yourself. This is about carrying yourself with grace and honor as well. But the main message of this card is knowing and respecting people for who they are and recognizing the value of their possessions, appreciating the value of their possessions, because in fact, we're all created equal. We all have equal parts to play in our own individual lives in the symphony of life. So we're all equal. None of our parts are more vital. None of the parts matter more. They are all equally accounted for being, significant in their regards. So, we're all different. There's, unity in diversity. We're all different and we all add to each other's differences. But it creates sort of a melting pot of life. So that's really the message of this particular card and what it's talking about. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that you liked this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Or better yet, subscribe to my channel if you like this content. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.